So I'm going to be talking to Lakysha today, and she just showed me this, what she's going to be turning into an Airbnb, which is a small little camper, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you don't have to buy a home to turn into an Airbnb.
That's right.
This is a cool little spot.
It's a camper.
So what's up, everybody? This is Ruben Garcia, and this is a beautiful day. And today on the Proven by Ruben podcast, we have Lakysha Williamson. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So if you could, tell everyone who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good jazz.
Okay. Well, I am, like you said, Lakysha Williamson, and I wear quite a few hats. You want to know what I do in real estate or in general?
let's do really quick in general,
okay,
and then real estate. Just so the listeners can understand that you don't have to truly go 1,000% into real estate.
Okay.
To have a little bit of income coming in.
Okay. So by profession, I am a nurse. I'm a registered nurse, and I've been a nurse for over a decade. And enjoy very much nursing.
Right.
And my primary interest in nursing is chronic disease management. So I created a program, a chronic disease management program called ICDEP, I-C-D-E-P. I actually have a video on YouTube too.
Where can they watch that video, just real quick?
If they search ICDEP, it'll come up. It's like a news broadcast video that I actually used when presenting nationally in Washington, D.C. I was invited to present the program.
Wow.
And so that was in 2018. And so that's one of my passions is helping veterans with chronic illness to be able to improve their quality of life and, kind of live independently and things like that.
Yeah.
So that's the nursing. How did I get into real estate?
How'd you get into real estate?
Wondering, right?
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I was in a really bad car accident. And I thought that was going to end my nursing career. So I ended up having spinal surgery actually as a result of that.
Wow.
And so I thought when I was 19 years old, I had a friend who was an excellent contractor. And I would always tell him, why don't you buy these houses and then fix them up and then sell them? So I was thinking flipping. This was when I was 19. So I'm thinking flipping before flipping even had a name.
Right.
And he was like, oh, I don't know about that. I'm like, no, you could make a lot of money doing it. He never got into it. He wasn't motivated. You got to be motivated,
for sure,
to do it. And so when I got into this accident, I thought I need another profession just in case, I can't do this anymore. And I thought, what about real estate? You've always had an interest, why not try that? And so I had my spinal surgery, and as soon as I was able to sit in a car, I had a friend drive me to real estate classes.
Really?
Yes.
That's
with
awesome.
My neck brace and everything. Everybody never forgets me because I sat there with a neck brace.
I love that.
Yeah. And so I went and got my real estate license while I was on medical leave with my collar.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that, it sounds like you got into a pretty serious accident, but you also didn't allow that to define you. You also decided, you know what, hey, I have to find a different way just in case things don't work out like I planned. And you walked into a pre-licensing class with a neck brace, ready to roll to pull on a second career if needed.
Yes, I did.
That's awesome.
So, got my real estate license and went back to work. Everything went well, with the surgery. So I went back to nursing, but wanted to stay in the real estate area because I realized with, looking at retirement, I'm like, this is looking pretty grim.
Yeah.
As I watched that 401k slowly creep up.
Very slowly. To be, right. Not even beating the cost of living.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, there has to be a better way. And so, then started doing real estate. I wouldn't say I didn't plan on investing so much. Our first, we already had a property that was not cash flowing at all, still not cash flowing. We'll talk about that later on, because that's one of the properties that we're in the process of redoing.
Got it.
And so we had that property, which we had moved out of, and then we purchased, we were looking for a vacation property.
Okay,
near the beach.
Yeah, so getting into real estate, and you wanted to, or you were also doing the nursing side, but you also want to stay in real estate.
Right.
It sounds like that you started getting into the investing world. What was your first investment? It might even be the one that's not cash flowing. What was your very first investment?
It was that one that's not cash flowing.
Yeah.
And yeah, what happened with that is that we had that property, and we stayed there. I stayed there with my husband for 8 years, but I didn't like the house.
Okay.
And so we decided, okay, let's purchase something else, because he was living there before we got married, and then we got married. So we wanted something together.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And he wanted something with more land. And so we started looking, and we found our current property.
Which we're in doing the podcast right now. Beautiful, beautiful home.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah. So we love this place, but we end up keeping that one because we were underwater in it.
Oh.
So 2007, with the whole real estate market crash, and, we were really underwater.
Right.
And so we thought, well, let's rent it. So by the time we rented and do a property manager, not cash flowing.
Right.
At all. Long-term rental.
Yeah. And how long is this? So you've been renting it out for years and years and years. And
just paying the mortgage.
Just paying the mortgage at this point.
Actually, we're $10 out of our pocket. So if you want to get technical.
Yeah. So what's your plan with that one?
So now what we're doing is we're in the process of having it renovated. The last tenants that moved out left it really bad.
Yep. So
I'm not a fan of long-term rentals.
I feel like you and I are on the same level when it comes to that, because of, that's what got me into the Airbnb world, was because of what a long-term renter did to my property.
Yeah.
And I wanted more inspections, and Airbnb, obviously, you're going to be in there a lot more.
Exactly.
Is that why?
That is, well, we purchased a property near the beach. And when I saw how we had more control with the short-term rental than we did with the long-term. Right. We knew that when this tenant's lease is up, we're taking our property back.
Right.
And so we did.
When was that? When did you start seeing that the short-term may be a better investment for your world or your portfolio?
In 2017 was when we purchased the property near the beach, and we had looked down there before we bought this, but we weren't able to find anything in our price range. And so we were like, okay, maybe God is telling us to stay put in Fayetteville and, do what we're doing here. Right. So we moved in here, and we decided, let's buy let's try to look for something that we can use for vacation with the grandbabies. We got 4 grandkids, and we got 2 kids between us, and so let's try to find something where we can vacation and then eventually retire. Right. Well, it was really a blessing. We stumbled on this property down near the beach, and it was really reasonable. It needed some work, but we thought, wow, okay, maybe we can do this.
Where did you find, did you have an agent, or were you just riding?
I was an agent at the time, and what I did was I had the agent who was assisting us prior to my becoming an agent. I reached back out to her. Got it. Because I liked the way that she worked, and so we reached out to Trish, and she put us on a feed, MLS feed down there, and started sending us properties. Right. And so we saw that particular property, and it had been on the market for like a year, and we were like, why is it not selling, what's going on. Did it have an easement on it? That was the first thing. The second thing is everything was yellow from the people who smoked in there.
Oh, not paint.
No.
Oh,
so gross. It was a challenge, but we were up for it. We were like, hey, it has good bones. They just had a new roof. The seller was willing to put in a new HVAC system. I paid to have new ductwork put in everything, and we renovated it. All we had to do was flooring and paint and cleaning, and it was up and ready.
Right.
So now we have it ready, and I told my husband, I said, I think we should try and see what would happen if we go ahead and Airbnb it. And that's really how it happened.
Yeah.
I thought it would
You
be
didn't see
great.
like a commercial or advertisement
No.
or it just...
No. It just was short term. I think this platform might work. And I had been doing research on it. And I thought, you know what if we could, pay our mortgage and our HOA dues by renting it out occasionally, but yet still have access to the property when we want to go down there for family.
Yeah.
And that's how it got started.
Wow.
And so we end up, cleaning it up, getting it ready, fully furnishing it, and we put it on Airbnb. We got it in April. May, June. We put it on in June. And by the end of the season, which was October, it slowed down because down there it just slows.
Right.
So you only have that really season. And once in a while you have contractors coming in and things like that where people will rent. But we grossed $24,000.
Wow.
And I didn't know what I was doing. And I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing. And we grossed $24,000. There's something to this.
Yeah.
And so everything I could read, or listen to, because I don't read that much anymore.
Yeah.
I have Audible, so I
Same.
purchase my books and listen to them.
Yeah.
But I started really checking out this. I was like, I gotta dig into this a little deeper. This is going beyond.
I love that. So for you, where did you look for the furnishing part? Did you buy new? Did you look around and find used? How did that world look like for you? Or what did it look
Initially, like? I purchased everything new.
Okay.
There's a place in Newton Grove. There were two places. There's a place in Wilmington and there's a place in Newton Grove, and both of them sell furniture, but at a discount price. So like I could look at something on Ashley that I like, and then I can take it to them and give them the number, and then they tell me what discount they're going to give me for it. I would not recommend that though, because we spent quite a bit of,
and that's why I asked that.
Yeah, quite a bit of money furnishing it, and it's beautiful.
Sure.
But I would not, recommend that for repetitive.
Exactly.
When you start to scale, as we say.
Yep.
So now scaling, I don't buy new.
Yep.
I do go to those thrift shops and look on Craigslist and, but you got to have the time to do that too. It can be time consuming, and then your garage can become like ours is now a storage place where there's sofas and tables and all this furniture, because when I see it on sale,
you grab it.
I grab it and I store it, and
Yeah, that's awesome. So what would you say is like the top 3 lessons you learned in your very first Airbnb investment? Hard lessons, ones that people could listen to and be like, "Ooh, let me stay away from that."
Let me tell you, doing the research in terms of the city. We purchased that first property, and then not long after, there were huge situations and issues with Airbnb in that city.
Right.
And we were not prepared, completely for that.
Right.
Fortunately, it happened very early where we could then, come up with an exit strategy. And we always, have, when we buy them, what is our exit strategy going to be for this one? Are we going to sell it? Are we going to long-term rented,
Right.
sometimes you might have to go back to that.
Right.
So I would say doing the research on the laws in the city, making sure that you do your due diligence where that's concerned, because that city now, you have to register your Airbnb, and there cannot be an Airbnb within a 3-mile square radius. See?
Wow.
Right. So it was good because where we purchased, we are the first ones there, and no one can put another Airbnb within 3 miles square.
What?
So it worked out.
What's the reasoning behind that?
They're trying not to saturate the area.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's good for you then.
It works great
Yeah.
for me,
Yeah.
but at the same
Yeah.
time, it can be limiting.
Mm-hmm.
For investors. So making sure that that market in terms of short-term rental. The other thing is HOA.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, so ours is in an HOA, and we were, I did check that, and we were very fortunate. They did not have any stipulations for short-term rentals. Right. So we escaped.
Yeah. So far, so good, man.
Yeah.
So far, so good. So what would you say is the third part?
The third part, I would probably say the making sure that you have a thorough listing in terms of your house rule. Yeah, because we ran into, a few issues where, for example, you have people, even though you say don't smoke, especially if you're managing on your own. Now, some people, will leverage it like, you're doing, and someone else, but I manage all of, our properties. Right. And so, I did not know, how to set up my listing in a way that I win. Right. Every time. Yeah.
You're so serious on that one. I will win.
I am every time, because people will do things. Yeah. They will not, it's not their property. This is your investment. This is what you're using to support your family and make your living and plan your future. And they're not looking at it. It's just a place to stay for them. It's a vacation. It's and so, I had to get, really strict with my listing rules. Yeah.
And would you say that you pulled some of those rules from other listings on Airbnb, just kind of seeing what they're doing?
Trial and error. A lot of it was just trial and error. When something didn't go right, learning from it. Right. And going back to the listing and saying, okay, I need to add this. Like the smoking rule, for example. We always had the smoking rule on our listing. However, what we didn't realize was people, when you put no smoking, our listing would say no smoking inside of the property or in any enclosed structure. Because we have a screen porch on that particular listing. Right. So what we didn't realize is that, people will stand right in front of the door with the door open, the smoke is blowing in, Right. And so we then learned to change it or within 25 feet of any open window or door. Right. So now, you just learn things too. Right. And then, security, things like that, learning that, sometimes you're like, oh, people, they want their privacy and, I understand that. And we don't do, interior cameras surveillance, but we do exterior surveillance, you know. And so just learning that, we want to provide a good customer experience, but we also want to protect our investment. Right. Yeah, exactly. And do you also use those exterior cameras of just in case they say that, hey, it's just going to be myself, or hey, it's just going to be myself and one other person, and you see 15, 20 people walk in, you're like, oh, yeah, because a party can wreck your place. Yeah. And when you're in an HOA and you have neighbors, I like to protect my neighbors too.
That's so important.
And
I'm glad you said that.
I want to protect them. Though these are the people that when I go down there, I have relationships with them, and I don't want them to feel unsafe because of, you know, something that I'm doing.
Right.
I want them to say, you know, they run a business, but they really respect.
Exactly.
And so, yes, I do have cameras to make sure that they adhere to the house rules, and also for safety.
Right.
You know, safety for the guest as well.
Yeah. Is there anything within that Airbnb that it's your touch, something flair that you put in your Airbnbs that signify that it's your investment? You know, just something kind of cool, quirky, maybe. Just curious. I do in each place put like an interesting piece that I find. Okay.
You know, I'm always, you know, in going to the thrift store or even online, and so most of my places will have like some type of interesting piece where somebody can say, "Oh, wow,
right,
where'd you get that?" You
yeah.
know? So other than that, no,
yeah, I was just
think
thinking,
so.
Yeah.
We just recently decided that all of them will have park grills because we have,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So another lesson learned. We had a grill at, one of our, the property down at the beach, and you know, people, if they're there, they're going to want to, you know, grill.
Yep, have fun. And
well, this particular tenant pulled the grill inside of our screen then, and it was very close to the wall, and it melted all the siding.
What did they say? Did they say anything?
No.
Oh my gosh.
That's why you have to. Yeah, check. And one thing I learned, that's why I don't have any more long distance. It has to be where I can get to it and I can, you know, do the inspections and everything, because things happen. And sometimes your cleaners, you know, they may not have that eye that you have. Right. You know, until you train them. Like now, pretty much my cleaning team there is wonderful. And they send me, you know, I just want you to know that this is broken or this is missing, you know. Right.
So just to kind of give some context, how many Airbnbs do you currently have? And we'll talk about the one you're working on later.
Okay. So currently I just have 2.
Okay.
And we're working on 3.
Yes.
So we have our non-cash flowing property that we're converting that to Airbnb. But the beauty about that particular one is that it has a separate entrance, which used to be my husband's man cave with a half bath. Yeah. And so we had contractor come in and convert it to a studio. So now what we're going to do is that's going to be 2 listings. It's going to be the studio, and actually the studio is already rented. We have somebody who already wants to rent it. So so the studio, and then the other one we converted to a 5-bedroom. Wow. So it's 5 bedrooms and then the studio.
Wow. So, and now it's cash flowing, I'm sure. Or it will be.
It will be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo!
I mean, just the rental alone, because we, I mean, who would have thought? I have a friend who she is selling her house, and she's like, "Hey, I know you do the short-term rentals. Do you have a place for me?" Yep. I said, "I'm glad you asked. Yep. I have this little studio that would be perfect for you." Exactly. And so she's renting it, and that's already half of what we would have made on long term. So that doesn't even count what we're going to get when we rent the 5-bedroom. It's
so important. We were just at the beach over the weekend, and within Margaritaville, they have this, they have someone who comes around and takes a picture of you guys and then wants to sell you the picture. We didn't buy the picture, but the guy taking the picture, he just had this energy about him. And I just started asking him questions and found out he's moving to Fayetteville in a few weeks. But he needs a place to kind of hang out while he's looking for a place. I was like, funny you say that.
Yeah.
You know, I have an Airbnb. Send them the link, and now we're hooking them up with our Airbnb.
Go.
But yeah, I think it's important and it's cool to have that.
Put it out there.
Put it out there, and,
right?
and also have that access for people that are looking for that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, who would have thought?
I know.
Right here.
Mm-hmm.
But.
And when I hear, how often do you hear that? Like, what? Fayetteville?
Yeah. They people don't think short-term rental, but absolutely.
Yep.
We're the third largest military base in the world?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I want to say we're number one.
I wish we were.
Yeah.
We're the third largest.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that's so moving from your first to your second, what have you done differently to increase the ROI on your second short-term investment? Okay,
so the second one, a couple of things. We bought very low on that one.
Yeah.
You know, whereas the first one we purchased, it was, pricey.
Sure.
So, but that was meant to be our vacation home.
Exactly.
With the second one, we purchased very low, and so that helps.
Was it a foreclosure, or it was just low in the market?
It was just low. It was we find properties that nobody wants, and it had been just like the first one, it had been on the market for a year. So we were like, let's go and look at it and find out what is wrong with it. It was a modular.
Right.
And so, a lot of times people don't, they're kind of funny about, buying modulars, which, I'm like, I don't have a problem with it. They're built in a factory, which is better because they're not exposed to the elements and, whatever. But I said, let me go and see what's going on with it. And it was a mess. It was a mess. But I'm like, I had a vision. I'm like, oh, we could do this and that. And my husband was like, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it, babe, but okay.
Pull out. No, let's not do it.
No, he was like, I trust.
Yeah.
I trust you. You know, I'm not seeing it, but I trust you. So I had my contractor come and look, told him what we wanted to do. And he was like, yeah, this is totally doable. And so we converted it. We spent less money, I think, to renovating it.
Right.
And so up front, the investment was lower. So that helped.
Yeah.
And then, not buying all new, of course the mattresses and, things like that new. Cause I would not want,
Yeah. So, you don't want that bad review.
Yeah.
The mattress smelled a little funny.
Yeah, exactly. And I know I don't want to sleep somewhere where I think somebody bought a used mattress or something. Yeah. And so that we did new, but the other things we just kind of, secondhand things, even stuff that friends didn't want and, things like that. And so saving money in that respect. And then looking for a place that, what I saw is that there were opportunities to do other things there. The property was a little under a half acre, and this modular on it is a 3-bed, 2-bath. And so it can easily, be, have an accessory dwelling on it.
Right.
And that's what I was thinking. So I'm like, well, we can put a fence going this way and then have another Airbnb back there, and then you don't have the expense of buying, land or another. But our goal is to have properties that we can get more than one Airbnb out of it. So that's how we're looking at it. Just like our property now, it's 2. So you pay tax for that, but then you can but people still have their private space. Right. Because, you can share too, like people do the sharing, but I'm not so much. I think people need to have their own private space.
Yeah. Wow. That's unique. You're on like the next level looking for properties to where there's more than one listing out of that property.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So when you're looking for a listing or an Airbnb, you are looking for the listing that nobody wants. And are you just looking on the MLS, or are you also looking at homes that are off the market or off the MLS? Yeah.
We're definitely looking off market. Like we're under contract right now for a property that we acquired off market.
Right.
And
how'd you find that one?
You know, it was just a blessing. I got a call from our banker. Said,
oh,
hey,
really?
Yeah. I know you guys are just
My
starting.
banker better hook me up more.
He said, I know you guys are just starting your business. This is where we have our business account.
Yeah.
And he said, this guy, you know, he just left and said that he has this property that, you know, he just wants to get rid of it. And I thought, really? And he's like, yeah. I said, well, what's his number and his name? You know, and he said, I don't know if it'll turn out to anything, but
here's the number.
Yeah. And so he was just trying to help somebody who was in a bad situation, and then help us too. So we're both his clients and hooking us up together.
Yeah.
And so I was down in Williamson vacationing, and I cut my vacation short. I packed everything up and I got here because I knew I needed to get here and see the property. So I called my husband and I said, hey, can you take a lunch break and run over there and, you know, take a look at this place? It's a mess. Yeah, it's probably the worst. Really? The worst we've ever seen.
Now, was the seller living there, or was it?
No, he did a seller financing.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and the lady just did him really wrong.
Really?
Yeah, and he's an older guy too, in his 80s, and I was like, oh, trash. Like, I needed my boots going in. Yeah, so it was bad, but we were like, we can do it. We can do it.
How far along are you in that process?
We're hoping to close in the next week.
Okay.
Yeah. So the challenge with it was that there was a lien placed on it. And the person that he had done the seller financing with, it was challenging getting up with her and kind of getting her to do what she needed to do to okay for us to talk with the attorneys who, you know, placed the lien on. But we finally got that squared away. And so I'm learning all kinds of things with this deal. Yeah, which is only going to set you up to put you in a good place in the future as well. So the reason does this property look like it's going to cash flow really well? And is that kind of the motivation to get everybody together and on the same ground and keep this thing moving forward? Yeah, it does look like, and it has so much potential.
Right.
And so, you know, we can do a number of things with it. If we decided that we did not want to Airbnb it, you know, we could make a good amount, you know, probably triple what we've invested.
Right.
So it's definitely worth it,
you
know, to go ahead and, you know, work through the process. And plus I want to learn it.
Right.
You know, our plan is that we do want to get more off-market properties and either wholesale them or convert them to Airbnb if they fit into our business model.
Yeah. No, I dig that because you went in, you had to put boots on because of how gross it sounds like this place was. And you still didn't allow that to be the reason why you're going to pull out of this deal. And I think a lot of people do. They walk into these places, they're like, whoa, this is going to be too much work. And they back out instead of looking at it like, whoa, this is going to be an excellent learning opportunity that then will have a 2-3x return at the end of it.
Exactly.
So you're looking at it differently and you're thinking about it differently. And I think that's important for people to know that.
It is. You have to now, you know, I would not do this one as my first.
Right.
You know, but we have graduated each time. We've got something worse.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You're a little bit
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you got a little bit more armor on. You've learned a little bit more from the last one.
Yeah.
You're willing to take on the challenge.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is terrible, but great. You
I would like to see that. Do you do before and after pictures?
I do.
Yeah.
I have before and after of our last one and this one, actually, I have pictures of that on my phone. It is trash.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You might have to send those to me later.
I will.
We'll add it in the video.
Yeah, I will.
Yeah, because I want to see it. I know with ours, we had challenges, and I was taking a lot of before pictures, and it was gross, man, because we basically flipped the property to turn it into a long-term rental.
Oh, okay.
Then we had to flip it again after they left. Yeah, and those pictures were like, we didn't know what was on the brand new carpet. It was like this brownish, gooish stuff
what
around.
What in the world do they do?
I don't know.
I had like, greenish stuff.
Yeah, what everywhere. In the world?
And toothpaste on the wall. I'm like, how do you get toothpaste?
Yeah, they were sticking incense in the light switches where they were just shooting out all over the place. So I don't know what they were doing in those rooms to turn. Yeah. So who knows? But I got all those pictures, and it's just like to see what it looks like now and what it was. It's kind of cool to see. Yeah, that too,
it is, and it gives you, like, when I look at my befores and my afters, it gives you that sense of accomplishment. Like, yeah, and then it motivates me. Like, okay, next deal. Yep, exactly.
Now, for anybody who's looking or thinking about getting into the Airbnb game and managing themselves, what are some stuff that you would tell that person who wants to manage their Airbnb?
I mean, it's definitely time consuming. Yeah. So just be ready to put in the time. And, you know, until you get to a point where it's automated. I think, again, what I was saying about the listing, making sure that you have a great listing.
Right.
And your rules, your house rules are very clear and concise.
Right.
I would say that. And, you know, just doing what you can to create a good customer experience, but not to the detriment of your bottom line.
Right.
Because I have done, you know, I think my first one, you know, you want to get good reviews, you want to please people, and so you do all this crazy stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that you don't really need to do. You know, I've found that people just want a clean, safe place to stay.
Right.
And they want a responsive host. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, that response rate is huge.
Right.
And so if, you know, even if there is a problem, if there's good communication, most often you're going to have people that'll rate you well and that'll be overall satisfied with the experience. The cleaners is a huge, and I know that's talked about all the time.
Right.
But that is having a cleaning team that is on the money can make or break your business.
For sure. How many cleaning crews have you been through?
Not many. I have been, only one crew have I had to let go.
Really?
And the reason being is that I learned from the first to train and follow up. And so I have checklists for every property on what they need to do with pictures. I have them in 2 languages, English and Spanish, and I provide them with that, and then I walk them through.
Right.
You know, so, and part of their interview is doing that walkthrough.
Right.
And seeing if they're able to see what I see. Yeah.
Dang, that's important. Is the cleaning crew that you've brought on, do they need to expand because of the Airbnbs that you're bringing on board, right? Do they need to hire more people? And
well, no, not because what I do is I have one team that handles each listing.
Oh, okay.
Because my messages go out automated, and I don't want to deal with figuring out who's going to get it. I don't have time for it.
That makes sense.
It's automated so that this is your property. Any any additions that we have to it, this is all yours.
Right.
And so I have one cleaning team for the beach. I have one for the property that we have here. Yeah. And then I have one for the the double that we're setting up.
I love that. So for you, when do you think that when you start getting and acquiring more and more Airbnbs, at what level do you think that A, you're going to leverage it off to someone else, or B, hire someone to come in and keep that customer service going to that high level of customer service going to your clients? How many Airbnbs do you see that about?
I don't know. You know, I guess, you know, until I get to the point where I can't handle it. Yeah. But because of the way that I have it set up, like it's running right now and they're getting messages right now. Right. When they're, you know, getting ready to check in and, you know, because it's automated, I don't do much. Right. You know, and so it would probably take, you know, with the 3 that we're having come on now, that'll be 5 of them. And it may take, I don't know, up to 10 or something. Yeah. You know, for me, because it's automated. Right. And then at that point, you know, I may, you know, hire a VA or somebody to, you know, just answer the messages because everything else is
automated.
Pretty much running while I'm working or sleeping or
yeah. And so where did you learn all of the processes like that to even the automated stuff? Because I know that you mentioned that you thought this thing could be a thing, and then you started diving into some books and then YouTube. Is that the collective place that you found most of these processes? Yeah. And what would you like? What YouTube video and what book would you recommend that really gave you the most?
The most? I don't know. I know there's the YouTube video, it's called Airbnb automation or something like that. I don't remember the exact name, but I know that he was very helpful. And I still, like, I get alerts when he posts something. Right. And so I'm looking at things like that. The other thing I did was, I got, what is the name of this book? I have it on, I can look it up. I don't remember the name of it though, yeah. But I have it on Audible. There was a book that was really helpful, with taking me through like the basics and helping me understand, you know, because there's a lot involved in it. It's not just setting it up, but also the SEO. And, you know, I didn't know anything about, you know, how to rank and, you know, all of these things. And so this particular book talked about that. I don't know the name of it, though. I'd have to look on my Audible. Yeah. And you found it just by a really quick search on Audible and it popped up. And yeah, I just put Airbnb on my Audible because I need to listen. I don't have time to read, you know. So while I'm driving in the car, you know, sitting in the doctor's office, whatever, I'm always learning something. Yeah. You know, trying to get better and learn, you know. And so that's how I found it. I just typed Airbnb in Audible and it came up.
Got it. Mm-hmm. And just real quick, how are you purchasing these properties as they come up?
Well, the one that's going to be the, duplex we already owned. Right. The other one we, took out a personal loan on that one.
Got it. Okay.
And then the other one we, did a conventional on it.
Got it.
It was considered a second.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
we have good credit. Yeah. So that's, you know, one of the benefits, you know, of having good credit is people will give you money. Yeah. You just have to be careful. Yeah. You know, interest rates and all that. But I mean, it's not any more than if I went to a hard money lender and purchased a place. Actually, our second Airbnb, we got it because my student loan place sent me something saying, hey, do you want to borrow some money? And I'm like, how much interest, and it was like 6% or something. And I'm like, it was a $40,000 purchase. And I'm thinking, I did the analysis because I analyzed all of the properties
Great.
before I purchased.
Yeah. Awesome.
So
that's a great play.
I do it and I go online and, there's a number of ways that I do it, software, and also doing it in looking at the competition in the area.
Right.
And seeing how much they're listing for and seeing how much their calendars are booked and, just looking at that and then determining, okay, what am I going to make? And so far, it's worked. Like our place around the corner, my husband said, well, if we rent it, how much? I said, we could probably long-term rent it for about $800 or $900.
Right.
I said, but I'm confident that if we short-term rent it, we're talking $1,800 to $1,800 or more.
Right.
And we've actually every month hit between $1,800 and $2,300. Yeah.
You can't beat that.
No.
So how do you run your numbers? Because the way we do it is just a simple Excel spreadsheet that we've kind of built ourselves. But you said that you have software and you're looking at other stuff. What do you use to analyze a deal to ensure that it's a good Airbnb investment?
I look at AirDNA.
Okay.
So that's one of the tools that I use. And that's how that's actually how I figured out too that our non-cash flowing property is going to be our biggest cash flowing property.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And when I did the analysis through that and then looking at rentals in the area and then also from our current Airbnb, that place is set to make more than our place at the beach, and that's 5 minutes away from the beach at everything.
Wow. Not in Fayetteville, though.
No. What beach in Fayetteville? Yeah. We got a few lakes now. I was looking at a friend of mine who, she was talking about her house and it's like got a lake behind it. And man, I was trying to figure out how I can make that thing work for Airbnb. But when you do the numbers, that's why you have to do your numbers.
Exactly.
And when I did the numbers, it was no way.
Yeah. And what I meant was like your Fayetteville investment is going to be cash flowing more than the beach. Oh, that's what I was like, not Fayetteville can do that for you.
Yes.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fayetteville is doing that for what?
Yep. There's all kinds of events that are going on that I didn't know that we have going on around here. And
we got the ball field now too, adding to that. The downtown
Mm-hmm.
area is up and coming.
Yep.
Yeah, so
this is the
we're
time
on
is
the
now.
map.
What? Don't get me excited. Like, I'm gonna go buy 3 properties as soon as I leave here. So you got AirDNA, and what else?
And then I just look at Airbnb and looking at them, and my eyes are running bad. I guess from the fan.
That camera is so far away, you'll never be able to tell.
Okay, good. So and I just look at doing my own. Looking at the properties that are already on Airbnb and seeing how much they're booked and. Usually like right now our rate is about 63%.
Occupied?
Yeah.
Right.
63% occupied. And so, not where I want it to be.
Sure.
But, it still generates far more than what I was getting on those long-term rentals with someone in my property tearing it up and not having eyes on it every week or every other week.
Exactly.
Not being able to make repairs. People will leave I went in my short-term rental down near the beach and the toilet was leaking. They put a bowl under it and just left it. And it just so happened that it was so full I wouldn't have noticed it. And I kept hearing, I said, where is that dripping noise coming from? And so I went and researched. The bowl was like, the water had domed.
Yeah.
And it was just about to spill all over the place. But you wouldn't catch things like that in a long-term rental.
Yeah.
And now you have damage because that water has been leaking for so long and they haven't reported it. And, you know, I was able to mitigate that right away. I had my plumber come in and he took care of it. That's right the other thing, having a team.
Yeah. Yeah. Huge. Yeah. Huge. That's awesome. So, yeah, it sounds like you check out the market. Just like, honestly, you would do on a long-term rental or any other investment. You just, you're seeing what the market's accepting as a good price. And I think it's so cool that even at, you said 63?
Yeah, 63%.
You're still at a much higher, return on your investment than a long-term and everything else that's involved with it.
Yes.
Yeah. So what would you tell a person who is thinking about Airbnb, maybe even as their very first investment? What would you tell that person to get started into this cool little investment going on?
You know, I would probably say don't get in over your head.
Yeah.
You know, start where your finances can handle.
Right.
You know, because a lot of times we hear, you know, what other people are doing. We just want to just go and do that. But it's not, you know, what works for one person is not going to work for another.
Sure.
You know, and so making sure that, you know, what you're doing suits, and always have an exit strategy.
Yes. These are things I'm thinking about, like bringing up. But you're on these things every single time. I just love it. Sorry, that was me geeking out a little bit.
Yeah,
but you're right. You
gotta have an exit strategy. Whenever we Airbnb, we make sure that property can do something else. It has to be able to, you know, it needs to be in a neighborhood where I can long-term rent it, and you know, still be able to at least generate some type of income. Yep. You know, and so making sure that you have an exit strategy, because you don't know what the market is going to do. The market or the platform city? Or the city. Yeah. Or, like with our place near the beach, something can happen where a law is passed and you got to have a way. And what we do is we calculate, if we were to long-term rent these properties, will we still be able to cash flow? Right. It won't be as much. Right. But we still need to be able to cash flow. Exactly. And if the numbers really hit that, then you'll be fine on the Airbnb side, right? And I've had so many people, they get so nervous because of what the city has done in other places. And I say, well, just know that you're going to Airbnb it, but go in it thinking that you're going to long-term it. If the numbers work there, right? That's right. Like, more likely than not, your numbers are going to be just fine when it comes to Airbnb, and you protected yourself in case the city does cut Airbnb. Exactly. Yeah. And you know, keeping in mind that, you know, there's a process that occurs too before all of this, right. You know, they pass all the legislation, and so bringing the income before that. Yeah, that's what I mean. The one at the beach, I mean, it's taken a few years and it's still not finalized, everything. Right. And so I'm like, until they tell me, you know, something different, I'm just going to continue to, you know, get that revenue in. And sometimes it's good to, you know, we went into with an idea of temporary. You know, if some of our properties, even if we needed to temporary, like to pay off, like our property that we're renovating now. Right. If it doesn't work out, that's fine, because we'll get what we put into it. Right. We paid to renovate and update the property. Yep. And it won't cost us up front. It cost us something, but in the end, we're going to recoup every dime of it. Yep. So now we've renovated a property for nothing, brought the property value up. Yep. Whereas if we need to exit it, sell it, do you know how much a property would make if it has its own separate mother-in-law suite? Right. With, you know, its own interests. I mean, so we look at that, you know, what is our plan? And if we plan on selling, you know, what's going to add the most value when we're doing our renovations? We're not just going all out and, you know, just fixing things, but bathrooms Absolutely.
Yep.
Kitchens, yes, you know.
Right. You got it.
Things like that,
yeah.
you know.
Man, I think you're dropping so much value on this podcast, and I trust that people are going to listen to this and actually take away a lot of what you're saying, especially if it comes to their first investment, second investment, third investment, or whatever. But to take everything you said and take action on it, because you really dropped a lot here today.
I hope so.
You have. Do you mind? I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and then we'll jump off of here.
Sure.
So, real quick. Do you have a favorite failure that you believe has set you up for success in the Airbnb world?
A favorite failure.
Yeah.
I would, just going back to the due diligence.
Yeah.
That's a failure. I mean, it could have set me back a little bit, but two things, the laws, that, I mean, now there's so much on Airbnb and short-term rentals, whereas, for me 2 years ago, a lot of this stuff, people were like, air what? Mm-hmm. Didn't know anything about it.
Right.
And so I didn't know, and so I didn't plan, with that particular property, but it set me up so that now every property that I do, I have my exit strategy. Right. I know, okay, if this happens, this is what we're going to do. If this happens, this is what we're going to do.
Right. Right. No, I agree with you. What are you seeing a lot of newbies do that they shouldn't be doing when it comes to Airbnb? I look at some of the listings, and I think little mistakes like photos. Yep.
Bad photos. And
yeah.
Hey, but nowadays there are phones that take incredible photos. Like, my photos look great.
Right.
I take them with my phone.
Yeah.
And then I, use the software to, if I need to alter them. But, when you got those dark pictures, I mean, that's not a place I'm wanting to stay.
Nope. First impression.
So, yeah. So I would say that photos are huge. I've had guests say to me that, they've been spoiled by staying in, one of my Airbnbs. Awesome. And, I think that customer experience is really important. Yeah. I do, communicate with my guests. Are you okay? They're people. So even when my guests are arriving late, I will send them a message, say, don't want to be mommy, but I just want to make sure you're okay. Because I noticed from your code you have not checked in. Yeah. So I think caring about people too. Yeah. That, we are running a business, but there's still people. Yeah. And that care factor is really important. Yeah. So, I guess that would be, I think, the biggest things.
Yeah. I think that's important.
Yeah.
Right? Because if you just run it pure numbers and don't care about the person in there, then that's going to reflect. Yes. Right? And they're going to feel that, and they're going to see that, and then it's going to reflect into your reviews and then how they talk about your Airbnb. So I think it's huge. And always, we're in real estate, always pictures, right? Pictures are a big deal.
It's huge. Yeah. It's huge. And then just like for our properties, we make sure that, if you say that your property is family friendly, please let it be family friendly. Like little things. Right. Yeah. Plug covers. Yeah. To me, I'm thinking, when my grandkids were little, plug covers. Right. I have a stroller I have an umbrella stroller in every listing.
Oh, that's
and
cool.
I have a high chair in every listing. Mm. And if you're family friendly,
it needs those things.
You need those things.
Right.
I mean, if you're not, then you don't need them. Wow. But I like to, when I say it, it's true.
Right.
So when you get family friendly, you're going to walk in and they're going to look like, oh, I have toys.
Sure.
You know, there I put little toys in there and stuffed animals and, you know, things that make kids go, you know, little games, family friendly. You know, so I think that's important that what you market, that you truly do those things.
That's awesome. We're going to have to look into that. That's really cool. I mean, it's totally slipped my mind. I've got 2 kids. I didn't even think about that. I love that.
Because people are traveling, and isn't it nice that they don't have to bring a stroller? I remember traveling. My grandchildren are twins, okay? We had custody of them when they were 8 months old. My daughter deployed to Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Do you know what it would have been like for somebody to say you don't have to bring a stroller?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big piece of equipment to lug around when you're traveling, you know? And so we just do it. I mean, do people use it all the time? No, but I think it's just nice.
I love that.
To have there. And then the other thing I would say to newbies is there are little things that, you know, help control your costs that we were not aware of. So, or we were, but you know, sometimes you don't want to spend that money up front. And so like smart thermostats, for example.
Yep.
Because let me tell you, those guests will leave your house and your AC will be blasting.
Yeah.
And now your bill is $400. That's cutting into your
100%.
Your bottom line, you know. And so just making sure that, you know, things like that, that you know, sometimes you don't think on your own residence, but when you're running an Airbnb, they're crucial.
Yeah. And these are all great things for your exit strategy, right? These are extra cool little things that the buyer could see or that the renter could see.
We have a smart home.
Yeah, we got a smart home.
Smart loft.
Yeah.
Smart this, smart.
Exactly. Awesome. So where could people find your listings? Like, what are they named on Airbnb so they could check them out and just say, whoa, these are really cool?
Oh, okay. So my the one around the corner is the Cozy Farmhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, and then
in Fayetteville.
Yes, in Fayetteville. And then the one in Williamson is Starfish and Seashells.
Wow. Cool. That's awesome.
And then I'll have Butterfly up soon, my little camper.
I know, and I wish that'd be next time. We'll touch down the camper. But I think that's so cool. You didn't have to buy a house.
No.
Right? You bought it. It was $3,000?
Yeah, I bought a $3,000 camper.
Yep.
Renovated, and I'm putting it on a property around the corner to Airbnb it, and I mean, hey, look, it's so cool. I said 2 listings per property. I don't care how it gets done.
It's a cute little camper too, and if you guys are listening to this, go to YouTube, and you'll be able to see these pictures and videos of it that we're going to put on here. I think it's so cute. It's so cool that you found another way to pull cash out of something like that. So
just for the price of a camper and a hookup.
Yep.
You know, because we're on septic there.
Right.
And so we'll put a septic and
done.
You know, we're done.
I might have to stay in that.
Pretty and cool. Beachy. Well, I stay in it, so I decorated it the way that I would like it, you know?
Yeah, and you got style.
Oh, I love to, that's like one of my passions is you'll see when you look at my listings.
Right.
It grabs people's eye, and I can just take a piece and I'm like, that's my focal, and now, you know, I just build around it. That's
cool. You need to start your own YouTube channel of what you do. That'd be really cool. So people could see it, follow your story.
I need help. I'm so
yeah, true.
Camera and mic, you know, I could probably do it, you know, but you know.
Yeah, you'd crush it for sure. For sure. Well, I appreciate you jumping on here, dropping the value so people can, like I said earlier, get into action, right? And go through these small failures to get a good return on the other side of that. I just appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. And they can, if anybody's interested and they have questions, they can reach out to me at ncrealestateservice@gmail.com.
Boom.
Yeah. So if they have any questions, they can drop me an email.
You might get a question from me.
Oh, send it. Look, send them. I would love to have it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me, Ruben.
All right. Bye.
Bye.